I'm Jordan Hatfield, and we start 6:30 with the Lowell Township Planning Commission meeting tonight to review a proposed zoning change request from Microsoft for a data center. There is vocal opposition to the project, which, if approved, would be built on more than 230 acres near I-96 in Alden Nash. 13 Your Side's Nick Nelson has been following the developments on this story for months, and he joins us live now. Nick.
Yeah, Jordan, folks are starting to arrive here at the Kent County Youth Fairgrounds, and they might want to get inside. It's starting to rain a little bit here as this meeting is set to kick off at this barn. That's barn number 2. It's the one with the open doors. That's where this meeting is going to be held, given the fact that so many people are expected to show up to continue to voice their opposition to this data center proposal. Now, Microsoft is still waiting on zoning approval from the Township's Planning Commission, which is meeting here at the fairgrounds in just about a half an hour. Now, last month, the Township Board rejected a 6-month moratorium on data centers. That decision led to calls for 3 members of the Township Board to be recalled. Greg Forbes, a Lowell Township resident and vocal no data centers advocate, says it's important for members of the Township to show up to the meeting tonight.
This takes off the guardrails. If it's changed to light industrial, they don't have to have all of their planning approved prior to the rezoning. Whereas an IPUD, an industrial planned unit development, all of those details have to be there before approval. This is now the cart before the horse. Please approve it, and then we'll tell you basically what we're doing.
Now, there is no vote planned on the agenda for the meeting tonight. This meeting does, as I said, kick off at 7 o'clock in just about a half an hour here. Reporting live in Lowell Township, Nick Nelson, 13 on your side.
All right, thank you, Nick. And we're going to be heading out to weather now. We're taking a live look out at Grand Haven. And as the warm weather continues across West Michigan, you can see some folks, they're out by the beach, even though it doesn't look like a particularly beach-friendly day. A little cloudy now. We've got meteorologist Blake Hansen joining us right now. Blake, we've been sunny for most of this June so far, so the clouds seem to be a change of pace.
Yeah, a bit of a change of pace, and we're really going to see that warmth and, more importantly, Jordan, the humidity pick up over the coming days. That's going to be what everyone notices as they step outside. Live look here in Muskegon. It's 86 degrees still here at this 6 o'clock hour. Muskegon topping out in the upper 80s today. In large part, our lakeshore communities on the warm side because of that south and east wind, the wind field offshore for those at the lakeshore. Temperature still well in the 80s right now. It is quite humid out there. Dew points are well in the 60s to almost near 70 degrees, making it feel closer to 90 degrees when you combine the heat and humidity together. Nothing that's out of the ordinary here in June, but this is our real kind of first taste of that heat and humidity together. Because of the moisture in our atmosphere, we will see some passing thunder showers over the course of the next 24 hours. You noticed Nick Nelson out in Lowell. He was talking about a few raindrops during his live shot, and that's what we're going to start to see over the coming hours, that increasing coverage of showers, a few rumbles of thunder as well. Good news, not expecting severe weather, just some localized heavy rainmakers. But the risk for severe weather will pick up as this week goes on. The peak of the heat and humidity will be Wednesday into Thursday, and that coincides with 2 rounds of thunderstorm activity, potentially on the strong to severe side. So the biggest thing, as always, when we talk about an active week that's ahead of us, is to stay weather aware with some changing fine details of the forecast. Coming up in your full forecast, we'll talk about what we think right now as this week goes on in terms of the heat and humidity and that thunderstorm risk.
Thank you, Blake. Around 20 shots were fired near a Muskegon school building, and it sent people scrambling into a local business. A neighbor telling 13 Your Side it sounded like an automatic weapon. Our Micah Cho was up in Muskegon this morning, and he has more on where it was and how a bakery helped get people to safety.
I was in the house fixing my granddaughter some cereal for her to go to the daycare, and I heard a whole bunch of gunshots. And when I looked out the window, I could see a guy in front of the school right on the side of the playground shooting with a handgun with an extended clip, and he had on a mask.
It was a scary start to the morning for this Muskegon man who asked us not to show his face for safety reasons. He says while he was in his house at 7:30 a.m. Monday, his girlfriend was walking to work and also witnessed what happened.
So my girlfriend gave me a call, and she told me that they were shooting on Latest Street. She said the guy, she actually saw it, say the guy was getting chased and she could hear the gunshots.
Audio from police scanner traffic recounts the moment the neighbor we talked to called 911.
Shots fired near Marshfield, 1800 Peck Street. Otherwise, there was about 20 shots heard. There was a black male with a bag and a black jacket who fired 20 shots at the school, left towards Rikes.
While they didn't want to go on camera, staff at a nearby bakery said they let people into their building while gunshots were going off to take cover. The neighbor said his girlfriend saw the person who was getting shot at shoot back.
She looked around and saw the guy that was getting chased. He turned around to shoot back, and she was looking for cover.
And while it's over, the neighbor says this has happened too many times near his home.
So I'm about to take my granddaughter to the daycare next door, and she witnessed and heard the shots. So it's real frightening because kids normally will be out here at that time.
More than 7,000 families in the Grand Rapids area lack the access to early child care and education, and transportation is often one of the main hurdles. Now the city's introducing a new child care facility meant to bridge the gap between cost and accessibility. 13 on your side's Rick Dorsey has more.
The Grand Rapids Central Station Early Childhood Center is among the nation's first childhood centers to be located inside a transit center. Now the goal was to make affordable childcare accessible to families close to where they live and work.
Transportation is always a barrier for families accessing childcare, and by centering our childcare center at the transit hub where all of our lines converge, will help families in both accessing care but accessing it in a way that is convenient and affordable.
The childcare facility is open to everyone in the Grand Rapids community, with an emphasis on bus riders.
Well, everyone can use the facility. We are actually targeting bus riders and giving priority registration to bus riders.
According to Michigan.gov, it costs between $11,000 and $21,000 per child per year to provide high-quality early childhood care and education. This new facility bridges the gap of cost and accessibility.
We want to make sure that there's subsidies available, financial assistance available, any support that families need, but also there is a tuition base.
It's a new idea that local organizers hope will succeed and keep growing.
I hope this model gets adopted across the country. We looked at the ability to have two birds with one stone, where the cost is possible, but also give great access to them to have employment.
Enrollment for the child care facility is open for ages 6 weeks to 5 years old, and with the first day scheduled for sometime in September. Reporting in Grand Rapids, Rick Dorsey, 13 on your side.
And today, a big piece of 13 on your side history was laid to rest as one of our broadcast transmission towers that was installed all the way back in 1962 when WZZM first took to the airwaves began the long and careful process of being dismantled. Our Michael Martin was up there as crews started taking the massive structure apart.
It's a monumental day.
Chuck Mikowski has been seeing these transmission towers in his dreams for decades.
Many cold sweat dreams where the tower fell down.
Starting his tenure at WZZM on January 7th, 1980.
I joked that I worked there all of the 80s except for 6 days.
Chuck didn't retire until April 2025.
I was fortunate enough to work with the guys that actually put WZZM on the air. They built the station, they built the studio, they built this transmitter site.
The original tower, seen here on the right, went up in 1962.
It is a totally different world, you know. Everything was analog, hardly any digital anything. Now everything's digital, everything's a computer.
That's the one coming down.
They basically have taken the tower and turned it into a crane. There's a winch with cables that go up to the top.
The other one next to it, that was built in 2002 and isn't going anywhere.
The yellow thing on top is called the gin pole. They raise the gin pole above the tower, hook a cable on it. They take the bolts out of the leg flanges and pick it up and slide it to the top pivots, and they lower the section down.
Programming is created at our studio on 3 Mile, set up to grant via microwave signal and then blasted out from the transmission towers via radio waves picked up in living rooms throughout West Michigan.
Today is the day. It starts today, taking the top sections off.
A monument to a different time, no longer needed to bring you the news. As the technology landscape changes, so does the rural landscape of Grant.
On a good day, they take down 3 or 4 sections. There's many sections to come down. So it's a process. So maybe in 2 weeks, this tower will be down.
Well, it's been pretty nice outside this month with all the sunshine and warm temps, but all that fun in the sun can be bad for our skin. A dermatologist explains the 5 most common problems and how you can avoid them. Could get this week, as well as our chances for possible severe weather. That's all next. Well, with the weather getting warmer, people are spending more time outside, but the warmer weather can wreak havoc on our skin. Mandy Gaither talks to a dermatologist about the 5 common skin problems he sees every summer and how you can avoid them.
It's the downside of summer: sun exposure, sweatiness, and clogged pores.
We tend to be hotter, a little sweatier, and doing activities that cause friction.
Dr. Spencer Dunaway with the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center says those factors combined can cause skin conditions to flare. The first common summer skin problem he sees is acne. Dunaway says it's important to wash sweat off before it dries and to change up your moisturizer for the summer.
Switching your nighttime cream to something a little less thick will be less likely to cause you to have an acne flare, but still provide enough moisture to protect the skin.
Next, dry, irritated skin. Dunaway says people tend to over-exfoliate. Using a light moisturizer can also help this problem. Third, folliculitis, or inflammation of hair follicles, which can lead to a rash. Avoid it by wearing looser clothing and washing off sweat from skin. Fourth, melasma, which causes dark, discolored facial patches. Sun exposure, pregnancy, and taking birth control pills can raise one's risk of this condition.
Protecting yourself with strong SPFs, even higher than what we'd normally recommend, such as SPF 50, is really useful for people that are on birth control pills or might be pregnant during the summer.
Finally, heat rash. Dunaway says it's the body's alarm system that a person's overheating.
So if you start to notice these prickly, itchy red bumps on the skin, especially on a really hot day, that's an important sign to cool yourself off. Seek shade or either get in some water.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Yeah, don't forget to hydrate. That's a key one. I was out there walking by the river this morning, and yeah, I definitely had to take a water break.
Yeah, that's the key, Jordan, especially when you start combining the warmth and humidity together. we always want to stay hydrated. And it will be one of those stretches, at least over the next 72 hours, where we factor in the heat and humidity combined. And on top of that, with enough fuel in our atmosphere, we'll be watching for some periodic thunderstorms. We do have a 13 weather impact alert late in the day Wednesday, really Wednesday night, and then once again as Thursday goes on. First of which, because of the warmth and humidity together, our warmest stretch of weather so far this year. When you combine the heat and humidity, it'll feel more like the 90s to even near 100 degrees. And with that fuel in our atmosphere, we do have the potential for severe thunderstorms. So it's just one of those stretches to stay weather aware over the coming days, with a busier week compared to all the quiet weather we have enjoyed over the past week and a half or so. Daytime highs today, primarily in the 80s, our warmest spots at the lake shore, and that was all due to a south and east wind. So the wind offshore allowing our warmest spots to set closer to Lake Michigan. Grand Rapids, 86 the daytime high, 8 degrees above the average of 78 here on this 8th of June. Look at the water here on Lake Michigan, kind of looking like glass. And again, that is due to that south and east wind. Not much of a risk up and down Lake Michigan in the way of beach and boating today. 13 weather ball, however, is blinking blue. Don't let it fool you. Despite temperatures tomorrow being a few degrees cooler than today, the humidity will continue to rise, and that will negate those slightly cooler temperatures that are ahead of us tomorrow. And we do have some passing thunder showers in sight over the next 24 hours. Now, temperatures tonight, yeah, it's going to remain warm. It's going to remain muggy, only falling into the 60s tomorrow with a fair amount of cloud coverage throughout the day and still holding on to that passing thunder shower chance. That's why we only make our way into the upper 70s to lower 80s across the board. But here's the thing, the humidity continues to be noticeable. We felt it today. It's been on the rise, and anytime the dew point is in the upper 60s, even into the lower 70s, especially above that 70-degree mark, that is air you can wear for our standards. And that's what we're going to have tomorrow, Wednesday, even into Thursday. Now, over the next 24 hours, our precipitation chance, the rain and thunder shower chance, will be driven by this low pressure system that meanders through the Great Lakes region. The good news, at least through tomorrow, we are not anticipating any severe weather, just some passing showers, but with all the moisture in our atmosphere, we definitely will contend with heavy rainmakers. Here's the thing. We'll likely see the coverage of these passing thunder showers remain hit or miss. We are not expecting a widespread bout of rainfall tonight through tomorrow. So what does that mean? Well, that's going to lead to a large variety on who sees the most amount of rain. Some spots will be a little lackluster compared to others, just dependent on where those thunder showers progress tonight through tomorrow. And that's the case. There's tomorrow morning through the midday hours. You can see that passing thunder shower continuing. Eventually, by the end of tomorrow, I think will temporarily dry out through a fair chunk of Wednesday. But in the meantime, through the end of tomorrow, take the numbers with a grain of salt. It's just showcasing that some spots could see not that much rain, while others, with just how moisture laden our atmosphere is, 1 to 2+ inches of rain just over the next 24 hours. Then the focus turns to Wednesday and Thursday. We have it highlighted in red. Again, a 13 weather impact alert. The heat and humidity builds, and then we have enough fuel for those thunderstorms. This is all going to be driven by two different reasons, though. The first chance, this is going to be Wednesday late in the day and primarily during the nighttime hours. This is going to be driven by thunderstorms that develop well to our north and west throughout Wednesday. We'll deal what's left over from those thunderstorms, likely in the way of a squall line, later in the night. That's why our risk is still a little lower compared to those to the west. That's what we'll be watching Wednesday. Thursday's risk will be tied to the overall system that brings a cold front into the Great Lakes by the end of the day through the nighttime hours. And that's going to set the stage for organized thunderstorms late Thursday into Thursday night. So two different reasons, but we still have a lot of heat, a lot of humidity. That means a lot of fuel for those storms to feed off of. So that's what we'll contend with Wednesday and Thursday. One more time, 13 weather impact alert because of that risk. Just stay weather aware. That's always the biggest thing when we have a lot of factors in our forecast. Here's one last thing to kind of talk about, Jordan, is that once we get towards the end of the week, that cold front comes through, we do cool down. The humidity will sweep out of here, and it does appear that cooler than average temperatures are brewing just beyond this 7-day forecast. You can kind of see a little hint of that Sunday and Monday, the end of the weekend and early next week. Daytime highs in the 70s. I think that's going to be rather sustained into much of June. So while we have the heat, the humidity, the next few days, that might take a back seat by the end of this 7-day forecast.
Well, that sounds great because the heat is kind of brutal right now. So I think if we can cut back on the heat and humidity, it'd be a great summer.
A lot of happy campers out there.
Oh, yes. Well, the start of the 2026 World Cup is just days away, and many teams are getting ready, but those preparations also include some game day rituals. What the players of the U.S. men's team say they need to do before every game next.
I've been busy lately. I tried a wrongful death case for $75 million. I settled a different wrongful death for $37 million and another one for $20 million. Those are massive numbers, unprecedented for any law firm in this town, unprecedented for the state of Michigan, and I'm personally involved. We get more money for clients than anyone in this town. Ask around. Let's meet. Call or click. It's free. Who you hire matters.
We're just a few days away from the first match of the 2026 FIFA World Cup hosted in North America, and the U.S. men's team's getting ready for their first match in L.A. on Friday. And when it comes to tournaments like this, many players have their own daily rituals they have to complete. Luis Ortiz from our Houston station reports.
It's one of the oldest stories in sports. Lucky socks, the left shoe first, the story of the pregame routine. But with the World Cup just days away, many U.S. men's national team players say their game day rituals are actually pretty simple.
I'm not I got to put this sock on first or put this shin guard in, last or anything, or I need to listen to this type of music. I have none of that.
For some, the day starts the same way it does for a lot of us.
Pretty normal. Wake up, have a couple cups of coffee, have my breakfast, have my lunch. I don't need to do anything special.
Others aren't looking for luck at all. They choose to enjoy the calm before the storm.
I don't like things getting too loud. I like to get focused and be in my space and listen to some music, to kind of be in my own space.
That wasn't always the case. For many players, game day rituals used to mean something much more specific.
From youth to academy to being a young pro, I would have rituals. I would have things where if I didn't do them, I'd be going crazy. Like, oh gosh, I'm gonna have a bad game.
Now, experience has replaced superstition.
As I've gotten older, I've realized that was a lack of confidence in myself, so now my pregame ritual, I'm just chill, I'm doing whatever I want to do. My success is within me. It's not due to external sources of tying my shoe a certain way or doing this or eating a certain thing,
Others use game day to slow everything down.
I like to meditate on game day. That's one thing that keeps me calm. But another one I like to do is I like to just juggle the ball with, like, if I'm with my girlfriend at home or my family or something. I feel like that's a fun way to, like, keep things fun.
And for some, preparation starts with faith.
I'm definitely reading my Bible. I have a little mini Bible that I carry around, so on game days, that's my go-to. And just get mentally prepared.
Different routines, different personalities. But as the world's biggest tournament gets closer, these players all seem to share the same belief. Success isn't about a lucky charm. It's about being ready when the whistle blows.
And we're looking back at historical events on today's date, which includes the death of a well-known chef. History is made on the football field, and an iconic car hits the streets. That's all coming up next. On this day in 2018, chef and television host Anthony Bourdain died by suicide at age 61. He's known for writing a best-selling book, and he hosted multiple TV shows. In 1948, the car company Porsche received road use approval for its 356 in Germany. 2 years later, the first coupes would arrive in the U.S. And lastly, in 1966, an announcement that changed the landscape of professional football in the U.S. The NFL commissioner announced the merger between the NFL and the AFL football leagues. The move clearing the way for the first Super Bowl between the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs back in 1967. That's a big day for sports.
Yeah, big day for sports. Setting up the stage, just think 60 years later, how big the game of football is.
Indeed.
Here in the United States, of course, back in 1967. Baseball was the primary sport, America's pastime, and yeah, there's a lot of baseball fans, myself included. Let's be honest, football is king in this country. And
it really is. Even though we are definitely in baseball weather right now, it's a great day to get out to the game.
It is a great day to get out to the game. Really, over the next 7 days, it's really just monitoring that thunder shower chance. We have a few thunder showers right now. Really just rain, Jordan. I'm not really seeing too much in the way of thunder and lightning, but you can see how those are popping up quickly. We have a lot of moisture in our atmosphere, and that will continue to be the case. Really, the biggest thing for tonight into tomorrow, some localized heavy rain that is going to continue at times, not widespread. The key word there is localized, everything will be widespread in terms of the heat and humidity Wednesday and Thursday, then that thunderstorm risk, which will obviously keep everyone updated as the details become more clear.
Indeed. Keep it locked here. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back for 13 on your side late night after the game.